What's up, YouTube? This is Bystander X79. I'm coming to you guys with my newest deck profile, Vendreads. Alright, Vendreads were a TCG archetype that was introduced in the Code of the Duelist booster. They just recently wrapped up the TCG support in Flames of Destruction. They are Darker Tribute Ritual Zombie type deck, which is completely and totally awesome. Getting support cards from both Ritual and Zombies. Been testing this deck out, playing with it, and I can tell you this right now, I'm loving the way this deck plays. It plays just like my old school Zombie World deck, where we just used to build resources and then just go off on your opponent. This deck happens to put just a little bit better field out on the first turn, and then it gets better and better as the turns go on. So, with that being said, this deck is a lot of fun, and I'm going to show you what it's like. First and foremost, we're going to do the Ritual Monsters. And the first one is Vendread Slayer. Alright, Slayer is pretty much going to be your go-to ritual, since it is searchable through pre-prep. Alright, level 6, 2400, 0 attack, 0 defense. 2400 attack to 0 defense. Has an effect that allows you to banish zombie type monster for it to gain extra 100 attack points after it attacks, which is pretty cool. So you keep it on the field, you keep building it up. It's level 6, so you could potentially use it to build into higher level rituals, or synchros for that matter. And this deck can do both. Alright. Next on the list is the level 7 Vendread Battlelord. Vendread Battlelord allows you to basically banish a zombie type monster, call a monster spell or trap card, and then your opponent cannot be able to utilize any of the call card's effects for the remainder of that turn, which is actually pretty cool. Being level 7, it has 27 attack, 2700 attack, 0 defense, and that Shockmaster effect, which is pretty awesome. And then of course we have Vendread Executor, which is basically a revamped Slayer. It has the ability to classify itself as a Vendread Slayer while face up on the field, and while face up on the field, your opponent cannot target any other cards except for this one. So that's actually pretty cool. Alright, level 8, 3000 attack, 0 defense. Alright, and before moving on, cool thing about it is that whenever the Vendread's ritual monsters are destroyed by battle or card effect, they get to search you another Vendread card from your deck to your hand, which is actually pretty cool because they replace themselves then, allowing you to keep building your resources and eventually keep going off. Alright, that being said, we'll just take this out of the way, and we're just going to go right into the main deck monsters. Alright. First we'll do the Vendread monsters. First and foremost, you have Vendread Anima. Alright, now all the main deck affect Vendread monsters have the ability to add on extra effects to the ritual monsters if they're used as tributes for the ritual summon of those ritual monsters. Okay, Anima has a nice effect. Basically, if any of your Vendread ritual monsters destroy a monster by battle, that monster is then banished instead of going to the graveyard, which is pretty cool. Another thing about the Vendread main deck effect monsters is they all have a way to turn around and special summon either themselves or another thing back, either from the graveyard or from the banish zone. Anima, for one thing, can turn around and banish itself, and you're able to basically special summon something back from the banish zone because of its effect, which is actually pretty cool. Now, if that was the case, if it was a higher level, I'd definitely be running more copies of this right now. There's another one of the ones Vendread core. Okay. Alright, cool thing about this is that its add-on effect is basically your opponent cannot target the ritual monster that uses core. Which is pretty cool. Imagine adding core onto something like Executor, where Executor prevents everything else from being targeted except for itself, and then all of a sudden this card was used as a material or for its ritual summon, and now Executor can't be targeted either. Alright, oh, one more thing is that, yeah, you could banish one other zombie monster from the graveyard to basically special summon it, but when it leaves the field, you banish it. All the Vendreads have that. Alright, then you have Vendread Hound Horde. Alright, allows you to target its add-on effect, allows you to target ritual monster to target a spell or track card and banish it. And then you can turn around and discard one Vendread monster from your hand to basically special summon this card back from your graveyard. Pretty cool. Again, it banishes itself when it leaves. Okay, Vendread Revenants. Its add-on effect allows you to target a special summon monster and banish it. If it's destroyed by battle or card effect, you special summon it, but again, when it leaves the field, you banish its Revenants. Alright, and last but not least, you have Vendread Strigs. Alright, Strigs, basically, its add-on effect is this card battle opponent's monster. You can draw one card and then discard another, which is pretty cool. It adds a little bit more consistency to the deck, allowing you to fix your hand to what you need to. Basically, to special summon this from the graveyard, you reveal a Vendread card from your hand, and then special summon it. And of course, banish it when it leaves. That being said, we go into the other zombie support. And we have Goblin Zombie. Goblin Zombie is insanely good in this deck. Basically, whenever this card leaves the field, you get to search your deck for a monster with 1200 or less defense. All the ritual monsters could be searched out through Goblin Zombie. Revenants can be searched out. Core can be searched out. Anima can be searched out. So there's a lot of targets just within the Vendread archetype itself that we searched out. And there are so many ways to send this card from the field to the grave. Link summoning, ritual summoning, tribute summoning, synchro summoning. Any type of summoning that uses this card, you're going to be searching your deck and plussing off of it. Must run. Alright, Gozuki. Basically, summon this guy out. He's kind of basically like a zombie type Foolish Burial. Send a monster card to your graveyard. While he's in the graveyard, you can special summon, banish him to special summon a monster from your graveyard to your field, which is pretty cool. And of course, no good zombie deck is good without unless you're running triple copies of Mizuki. Banish this card from the graveyard. You special summon a zombie monster from your graveyard to the field. I run Shiranui Spectral Sword. This is actually a very cool tuner monster, basically, because it allows you to synchro summon with materials from your graveyard. Pair it up with any monster with a level with a graveyard, and you could bring out some pretty good monsters. Spectral Sword can get you a level 6 synchro or a level 8 synchro, depending on the monsters you have. Alright, and of course, I also run the Solitaire package. I run 2 Solitaires and I run 2 Uni-zombies. In my opinion, Solitaire and Uni-zombie needs to be run in a one-to-one fashion just to make it work very well. Basically, you tribute Solitaire, special summon out Uni-zombie from your deck. Uni-zombie basically can pitch a card to increase any monster on the field's level from your hand. That's from hand, and then you can even activate its other effect, which can basically acts as a Foolish Burial, send the monster to your graveyard to again raise another monster's effect level, which is pretty awesome. Can help you with rituals, can help you with synchros, so the level of modulation is very key with that. It being a dark tuner, also very awesome. Alright, so that's the monster lineup right there for the main deck. On to the spells. Alright, the majority of this deck are dark attribute monsters, so I'm running 2 copies of Allure of Darkness. Draw 2 cards, banish 1 dark from your dark attribute monster from your hand. Always good. Another good zombie card that should be considered being run is Book of Moon at 2. It's a combo extender mostly. Special summon a zombie type monster from your graveyard, and if you do, you can then target a monster in your opponent's graveyard and banish that card. So we can really help you mess with your opponent's strategy going forward while improving your own field. Alright. To make sure you have targets for Book of Moon, or Book of Life, excuse me, you have 2 copies of Burial from a different dimension. Basically target up to 3 of your banished monsters, get them back into the graveyard. Alright, little defensive card right here, Call by the Grave. Great anti-hand trap card if they use hand traps against you, but otherwise it can just shut down any type of monster effect as long as there's a copy of that monster in the graveyard. And it can also offer some serious disruption if your opponent decides to turn around and use things that can get stuff out of the graveyard as well. So it's a great card in this deck. Be careful of this card because it can also be used in this deck as well. I guess this deck as well. Alright, Monster Reborn. Speaking of combo extenders. And then we have 3 copies of Pre-Preparation of Rites. Pre-Preparation of Rites allows you to basically search your deck for a ritual spell and a monster that's mentioned in that ritual spell's text. In this particular case, you're going to be searching out one of the 3 copies of Vendread or Origin because it does, and then you can search out a Slayer because Slayer is mentioned in Vendread Origin's card effect. The other ritual spell is you have Vendread Evolution. So you have 5 ritual spells, and then of course we have Vendread Charge. Basically, you attribute send 1 zombie monster from your hand or the field, or face up on the field to the graveyard. Special summon a Vendread monster from your deck to the field, which is pretty cool. Awesome quick play spell, adds extra monsters to the thing, and it can set off Goblin Zombie if you have them on the field. Alright, for the extra deck. Level 6 Synchros. Alright, Shinui Samurai Saga. Excuse me. Awesome card to actually have, even for a common, because it can actually allow you to recycle stuff from your Banish Zone back into your graveyard. So it's like, but it's 1 card at a time, once per turn, but it's during either player's turn, which is pretty cool. I have a Dawn Dragster in here. Level modulation is kind of key in any type of synchro deck to build off of anything. With Uni-zombie in this deck, playing around with this card's level is actually pretty cool. It's actually pretty fun to actually do. Can negate spell and trap card effects, adds a level of defense, and with Uni-zombie being able to add levels to it, you can actually get more use out of this card in the long term. And if in a pinch, you can synchro with it when its level is low to build into higher level synchros. Of course, we have 2 copies of Cyframe Lord Omega. Basically, cards in this actually at 2 primarily because it can do rip cards out of your opponent's hand, play keep away with those cards. But more importantly, while this card is on your field during your standby phase, you're getting stuff back from your Banish Zone back into your graveyard, which is what you want. Alright, we got Shogun Saga in there for the attack body. Pretty decent effect too. Crystal Wing, effect negation. And of course, I like putting Beals in this deck because, let's face it, you have Dark Tuner in there. Making Beals is pretty easy with this deck. And having a turn 1 Beals can be very problematic if your opponent doesn't have it out for it. Alright, on with the links. 2 copies of Vampire Sucker because it's very easy to actually make in this deck. Also allows you to grab something out of your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to the field, and if that card is ever popped, you get to draw a card, which is actually pretty good. Again, for consistency purposes, running it at 2. Alright, and of course, I run the Nightmare package. I have Goblin, Cerberus, and Phoenix. Alright, Phoenix goes after back row, Cerberus goes after special summon monsters, and Goblin gives you that extra normal summon, which helps almost any deck it's in. Also run a Nightmare Unicorn in the package as well. I like Nightmare Unicorn in this primarily because it's got a compulsory evacuation device effect on it. Not only that, but if you leave it on the field and you're actually able to co-link monsters to it, you can actually get extra draws, which adds more consistency over the time. Of course, Summon Sorceress has to make an appearance in this deck because it's a mono-type deck. Easy to get her onto the field, and then from there you can just start extending into even more and more crazier plays to build more a better field. And last but not least, you have Saruja. Pretty easy to assemble a whole lot of monsters on the field with different names to get that hand fix effect. The extra special summon really doesn't help that much within this deck because there's really not that much you want to special summon out of your hand. For the most part. But the power boosts are also very welcome. So you gotta take the good with the bad sometimes. And with that being said, this is my Vendread deck profile. It's for the current format, which is the May 2018 banlist format. So guys, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this on my channel, please subscribe. And make sure you activate notifications so you're notified whenever I put up a new video. Guys, until next time, I'll be seeing you. Peace.